John. How you doing?
Hi, Belle. I'm doing great. You?
I'm pretty good. I'm so excited to be talking to you.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for talking to me.
No problem. You did a really great job on Batwoman this season. You were a great villain.
Thank you very much.
I got a whole bunch of Batwoman questions for you, and
all right.
I'm excited
Let's
to get
go.
going. So how did you end up getting the role of August Cartwright for the show? What made the producer like you so much?
Well, I don't I don't know the answer to the second half of that, but I had an audition. I taped an audition and I sent it off and got word that I was going to be doing it. I think originally I was only going to do one, maybe 2 episodes. I'm not sure, but thankfully they kept creating story and kept him coming around and killing cats and the usual bad guy stuff.
And you mentioned that you were going to be in only 2 episodes or so. What was it like to keep coming back to the show?
What was it like coming back?
Yeah, for more episodes.
No, it was great. It was great because, and I got to work with a lot more of the cast than I had anticipated, Mm-hmm. I worked with Ava and Nicholas, who are fantastic young actors. I mean, you've seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
So just really, really strong professionals who work incredibly hard. And I was just so impressed with the 2 of them. And really, that was the work I was doing, was working with the 2 of them. And a little bit with Dougray in that first episode I was in. I got to spend some time with him, which was great. But then, coming back and doing more, it gave me the chance to work with Sam and who plays the grown-up mouse.
Yep. And
Rachel, and of course Ruby, who plays Kate. So, it was great, and it's such a fun crew, and it's such a fun team that works behind the scenes on that show. So, no, I was thrilled. I think anytime you're playing a character that you love playing, and the story keeps happening, you love it, and it's also fun. It's also fun to see what the writers come up with.
Yeah.
They're just directions that you don't see coming, and I had a great time.
The writers have definitely did a fantastic job with every twist and turn for each episode of the show. When we got to see the Beth flashbacks when she was younger and staying with Cartwright, it was definitely a twist I did not see coming.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, we were all pretty excited when we realized where that was going. I'd heard a couple rumors ahead of time, but it isn't until you get the script a lot of times that you really understand sort of the directions that have been, the tracks that have been being laid out long before it makes sense to the rest of us, So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you got to work with the cast, like with Rachel, Sam, Dougray, and Ruby and everyone, what did you learn by working with them?
They're impossible people, very difficult. They throw a lot of things around the set, so that's, you learn to duck, you learn to defend and block. No, what did I learn? Well, together, they've got such a collective experience of this work, and as an ensemble, I think I came in fairly early. I think I started in episode 5, but they had already developed this incredible working relationship, and they had a kind of a chemistry and shorthand that was kind of like jumping into a moving stream and going. Mm-hmm. So, and I learned a lot from all of them. I honestly think, Belle, I mean, I really can't think of an actor that I've worked with across my career that I haven't learned something from. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's always so exciting to collaborate with new people. And it's not just actors, it's our, the cinematographers on this show, the directors. I was so fortunate, the directors and writers I got to work with, particularly on this show. I learned an awful lot from all of them, even in small ways. The kids, just watching some of the way they prep a scene, and to put a specific answer would take us all day. But suffice to say, it was a great team to come in and play with. Yeah.
And who did you enjoy working with the most?
Oh, that's hard. That's really tough. Because I think you work with each person in a different way, mm-hmm. and you have a different job with each person. For example, I really loved working with Sebastian, who I won't give spoilers in case people haven't seen it, but we sort of we sort of were playing, a similar story there.
Yeah.
The two of us. And he had done some great work. If you've seen him in other things and in this, he's phenomenal. He had already started doing work and creating, kind of listening to my voice and the speech patterns that I use, and sort of trying to adopt that from time to time into his work, which I thought was great. So especially those days. Now, you didn't see us on screen together, but there were days when we were at work together. And we loved, talking about the character, because to share a character is a really interesting thing. So I really loved that. I loved getting to work with Sam, getting to work with Rachel. It's different every time. It's really interesting doing a scene with her, because she really likes to play and experience, and you can completely feel connected when you're working with her. Same with Sam. Mm-hmm. And then, I got a couple of really great days with Ruby, where we worked on that intense, long, final Cartwright scene. So
that was definitely a scene that I did not see coming, because I did not think that Kate would be able to actually physically hurt Cartwright. And when she did, and Cartwright already started it, by just slicing himself, I just did not see that coming. And the fact that she got so angry and actually killed him, I know the Batman character, but I never thought I would see Kate Kane or Batwoman do the same thing.
Yeah, especially to somebody as nice and as sweet as Cartwright. It just seems strange, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, speaking of Sebastian, when I was looking through your Instagram photos, I saw the two of you together.
Yes,
I thought you two looked like brothers, because you look so alike.
Oh, thank you. That's a compliment to me. He's a great guy, and he's had a really amazing life. He's done so many things, and just a few minutes talking with him, and you realize this is a guy who needs to write a book of his life. He's lived adventures in every corner of the globe. So yeah.
And what do you remember from your first day on the set, and what is the set like?
First day on the set, I remember. Let's see. I think my first day on the set was in Cartwright's house, and it's a really fantastic old location. That most of that we did on location at a farmhouse. And the funny thing was, the first time we came to this house, it was an incredibly hot summer day, and everybody was sweating, and just fans going at every moment when we weren't filming, and mosquitoes. I think I remember getting a mosquito bite on my face or something right as we were shooting, and so they were trying to fix that. And also Cartwright wears a lot of sweaters and woolen shirts, and buttoned all the way up. So if I'm being honest, my greatest memory, my strongest memory was how hot it was that day. Mm-hmm. And the funniest thing was, when we came back to the house months later to work with Deborah, who plays Mabel, Cartwright's mm-hmm. mother, it was freezing cold and it was snowing, and so it was, and there was no ventilation in this house. So I mean, they tried, they did their best, but everybody was freezing and kind of huddling together. So I have memories of extremes of working, at least at that location.
By looking at the house, you would think it was made in a studio and not actually on location.
Yeah.
I just love how authentic that is.
Yeah. I mean, some of it was in a studio. The basement kind of cell, the chamber, that was at the studio, but a lot of it was in the actual house, and the upstairs room where where the kids were playing, that's all really in the house. So it's a great location. In fact, I don't know if this is true. Maybe somebody can verify this, but I think somebody in the crew told me that it's the house that they used for X-Files, for David Duchovny's house. I think it's the same house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I would definitely have to confirm that somewhere, because I definitely love the X-Files, and
I
don't think I recognize the house.
Yeah.
So when you got the role, how did you prepare to play August? Did you read any of the comics or watch any of the other TV shows?
Yeah, I did a little bit. I was pretty lucky to have a relationship, a bit of a relationship with DC Comics, because I had worked for 2 seasons on another DC show called iZombie.
Yes.
And so during that period, I had an invitation to come with my family, and we got to, I brought the kids. We went to see DC Comics and meet some of the illustrators and just to see how it works. And it was just an incredible visit to an incredible place. And so when the gang at DC heard that I'd been cast as Cartwright, they were really kind to send me a bound edition of a bunch of the comics that made up the Jane Doe story, and which was really great. Now, Cartwright doesn't come from those comic books at all, but Johnny kind of Jane Doe does, and so it was really interesting for me to read it. And a lot of that face swapping stuff you see on the show comes right out of the comics. So I don't know. Are you a comic reader?
Yeah, I am. I haven't been able to read any comics for quite some time due to COVID, but I definitely love reading comics. I just got a new graphic novel to read, so
oh, great.
I enjoy reading whenever I can.
This one, I found it really informative, and then I passed it on to young Nicholas, who plays, young Mouse, and then I gave it to Sam, and I think Rachel ended up getting it too. So we were kind of passing it around to just kind of do origin stuff, and
When you mentioned that Cartwright wasn't in there, I know I read online that the character was based on Jane Cartwright's abusive father in the Gotham TV show. What was it like to play a new character that's new and original?
Yeah. It's funny. I had heard something like that too early on, but I was sort of told, TV works pretty quickly. You get cast, and next thing you know, you're there and you're working. So you're spending some time studying as quickly as you can to find out as much as you can about the world. I was told something about Cartwright as well. Mr. Cartwright, I think he'd only been called, and now Batwoman named him August Cartwright, made him a doctor. So it's always interesting playing a new character, and for the most part, any character most actors play is a new, it's somebody brand new that's just been dreamt up by the writers. So this was even more fun because not only was he what I'm used to, someone new that you're approaching from scratch, but there was some, canon. There was a little bit of backstory that, that I could find, at least about my child, so that was great. It was great. And I had a really cool experience working with the director on the first episode, Carl Seaton. And something we talked a lot about, I'm a father, and he was at the time, and I'm talking about in real life, I'm a father. At the time, he was preparing to be a father, and he is now. He's now got a baby. Congratulations, you guys. And it was really important to him to make sure that, at least for those first couple of scenes, that, Cartwright's feelings as a father and his feelings for his son came across, we didn't get a lot of time to explore that, but he, anybody who's sort of doing things that we watch now and go, what, is he kidding me? What's he doing? It has to come from somewhere, and I think with Cartwright, it really probably started at a decent place. He really did want to protect his son from what he felt was, a cruel world outside. Yeah. His son had been bullied, after his injury. He was disfigured. So I think it started at a good place, and so I focused a lot on that early on.
I was always wondering what their relationship was like before the accident and before Cartwright lost his wife, and you could kind of see in the house that he was just trying to protect his son, even though the relationship was a little tense at that time. So yeah. I was just wondering what it was like before even that accident, that he could have been a loving father and not someone too strict.
Yeah, and the writers, as I said, continued and then gave a little bit of an origin story to Cartwright once you met his mother and saw how difficult she was.
Yep.
And I think buried in there somewhere is the implication that Grandma, Mabel, is the one who burned Johnny's face. I think you can find that in there. I think, especially when we saw her pour the tea on Alice,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty certain, and maybe it didn't make it into the final cut, I'm not sure, but in one draft somewhere, I think there was some indication that Johnny's injury was from my mother, and so I've been working, Cartwright has been working to repair this face for him. Yeah, so I don't know if I answered your question. I think their relationship was probably from pretty young age focused on this thing.
Yeah.
And, at one point, even with Sam playing the older mouse, I had a moment where I took his hair and covered over his scarring. Even at that stage, even as I'm putting, fear toxin into him, I think Cartwright was still trying to help him normalize, at least as well as somebody like Cartwright can understand.
Well, if there's a deleted scene that gets released, that's probably going to be in the cut for the deleted scenes for the accident. So I hope to see that and see how it... For the
accident with the little boy?
Yeah.
No, it's not something we filmed. It's
not
I'm
sorry.
It might have been in an early draft of the script.
Oh, okay.
But I thought it got mentioned. I can't remember, Belle, but I do think it got mentioned somewhere. And if it didn't, it's because it was cut from a draft of the script.
Oh, gotcha.
But I blame her anyways. Let's just go ahead and blame Mabel.
Alrighty. So, since Batwoman and IZombie were not your first DC projects, how exciting is it to be a part of the DC universe in Batwoman, IZombie, and an episode of Smallville?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I've done quite a few DC shows, and I've done them on the CW for the most part. And if we're being technical, I was on Supernatural, and that now has a DC comic. It came after the fact, but so you can kind of throw that in there too.
That's right. You were Mercury.
Yes, yeah, I played the god Mercury on Supernatural a long time ago. But yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's such a fun world to be part of, And now that it's kind of the Arrowverse that we're working on, it's just a fun pool to dive in and start swimming around.
I love the Arrowverse. I pretty much grew up with it since Arrow started, and this world has been a part of my life for a long time, and it's been
great.
Truly inspirational to me. Growing up with autism wasn't easy for me, so I would always turn to these superheroes for help and inspiration.
Fantastic. And who do you have a favorite?
Oh, I have so many favorites. I definitely loved Oliver Queen, the Arrow. I love Batwoman. I love them all, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
It's hard to pick a number one favorite. Someone that's truly inspirational to you.
Now Cartwright is probably your favorite, so thank you.
Favorite villain.
That's too much. No. I'm just kidding.
The villain is one of my top favorite Arrowverse villains.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, thank you. No, I think I was really a Batman guy growing up, and I think that's for me to just get the chance to be in Gotham City and hang around there. It's just really fantastic. Especially, you sort of wish you could tell the kid version of yourself that you're going to get to go to the Batcave someday.
Yeah, I'm telling myself that too, because I definitely hope to work for the movies and maybe work for Marvel and DC, because
yes,
comic books industries are definitely what I grew up with, and they've just been my inspiration for everything.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, that's phenomenal.
Thank you. Do you have a favorite DC Comics character?
It's not a very original choice, but it has to be Batman. I mean, I did, even as a young kid, I did understand that, and I love Spider-Man, I love so many of them, and I read a lot of the comics, but to understand that this wasn't somebody with supernatural powers or radioactive powers, or just a guy who's trying to do the right thing, and he's got cool gear, that somehow made him seem more attainable to me. And Batwoman is the same way, Batwoman is just trying to do what she can, and it's not easy. It's not an easy job.
Yeah, and that's what I love about them, because they don't have superpowers. They're just normal people dressed up in a costume just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some way to view kind of their focus or their their heart as a superpower. I probably am not articulate enough to express it, but yeah, I always liked that. I thought, oh, then I can do this. I can get some boots and I can throw some, So as a kid, I made some of my own Batman gear.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I was like 6 or 7 when the Christian Bale movie came out, and
yes.
I saw it, and I wasn't even scared. But I knew I wanted to be Batman.
Yeah.
But now I cosplay, which is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I did too. But now we all want to be Batwoman, so.
Yes, I'm saving up for a Batwoman costume.
Good. Yeah. Great. Fantastic.
One last question: are you currently working on new projects?
Right now, I'm working on trying to be a homeschool teacher for my kids during COVID isolation time. Yeah. That's a challenging role and a fun one. No, to answer your question, no. I have a few things that I completed, before everything paused. And there's a film that's kind of making the rounds, was making the rounds to festivals. Called Open for Submissions that I'm really proud of. It's a feature film. It's a comedy, completely improvised by the cast. So the director would give us some sort of guidelines in each scene and just let us create as we went, which was a lot of fun. Quite an intense editing job, I'm sure, for them afterwards. But and then I'll be appearing on a few episodes this season of the Kevin Costner show Yellowstone.
Oh yes, I'm very excited for the new season.
Yeah, are you a fan? Do you watch the show?
Yes, I watched season 1 with my dad when it was on.
Oh, great.
And I actually haven't even got to season 2 yet, but I know I'm still excited to watch more episodes. Because I don't have the Paramount channel where I'm living, so it was a little difficult for me to try to get season 2.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, I think I might be wrong about this, but season 2 might be streaming on the app as well. I should know that. I'm sorry, I don't know. But our season 3 starts on Father's Day, so June. Okay. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It was a really cool project. Another fantastic team. We got to film. They film it sort of part of the year in Utah and part of the year in Montana. And so I got to go down to Utah a whole bunch of times, which is just beautiful. I don't know if you've been there, but it's incredible views and scenery and just wide open skies and spaces. I love being there.
That's really amazing. I can't wait to see season 3 once I see season 2. It was really great to talk to you today, John. I appreciate your time talking to you.
Yeah, I love talking to you too, and thanks for asking me. Thanks for your interest in chatting.
No problem.
Fun. Okay. All right. Stay well. Stay healthy.
You too.
Stay safe.
Okay. I'll see you on social media.
Okay. Yes. Sounds good. See you later, Belle.
All right. Bye.
Bye.